Today we're making hot and sour soup. The basis for hot and sour soup. As you can see, we're in a different kitchen. We're in a different setup. We're actually at the mother-in-law's place, and she really likes hot and sour soup, so we're gonna make it for her. But yeah, basis for hot and sour soup is the absolutely necessary ingredients. You need some hot chili pepper. You need some chicken broth. You need black vinegar. And you need eggs. Also cornstarch, which not showing it right now. But aside from that, everything else from there on out is pretty optional. So what we're gonna do is really just take inventory of what we got, because mother-in-law was like, let's make a hot and sour soup, and I was like, I don't know what you have. So I just raided her pantry, made a quick run to 99 Ranch. What we're gonna do first, found some of these dried lily flowers, and so we're going to hydrate some. Not too much, just a little bit. The trick, seriously, the biggest thing that you can do to kind of make hot and sour soup not quite right is when you add too much stuff. And so this here is Whittier's. And we're also gonna add some of these in here too. That's good enough. So we're gonna actually heated some water in this kettle. Ideally, you hydrate in cold water, but for the sake of expedience, we're just going to use hot water instead. Hot water will definitely leach out some of the flavor. But it's okay for now. We're also going to adjust this. It might be a little too. Might be better. All right. I'm gonna take some ginger. Not this whole thing, probably just half of this. You don't need to peel it. Really, the whole entire you're just getting it for the flavor, to flavor the soup, right? So it's not about making it look pretty. We're gonna hydrate that there too. And we got some long hydrated shiitake mushrooms here, which I'm not used to working with rehydrated. Oh my God. So these are not tender at all. I mean, fresh shiitake mushrooms are readily available anywhere nowadays. You don't need to get it dried. In theory, dried is supposed to be more healthy, but oh my God, this knife. You're just going to be hearing me complain about my mother-in-law's stuff this entire time. Oh my God, it's... All right, I'm gonna need to sharpen this knife later on. Specifically about the soup, you want to make a decision whether you want to chop things into chunks or you want to chop things into slices. You know, kind of when you're scooping out all the ingredients, you kind of want everything to be kind of sliced a similar way so that it provides a kind of nice consistent texture going on. So we're gonna go with slices. because actually some of the other ingredients, we got some Napa cabbage, we got a carrot, cilantro and onions is crucial for garnish, but this stuff also entirely optional. This is being because mother-in-law was like, yo, I have a leftover carrot. You should cook with it so that you don't put it to waste. So there's that. Just gonna cut these into more manageable slices. Oh my God. This knife is dangerously not sharp. All right. Usually I'll go over marinating the pork, but in this particular case, the mother-in-law already has a stash of pork already marinated. So she's already sliced it. It's already looking pretty good. Marinade. Marinade is soy sauce, sugar, cornstarch, sesame oil, all the same stuff. As she might have put in some garlic powder. It smells like garlic powder in there. So we have some stuff in there. Obviously not going to use all of it. Again, like you don't want to overcrowd. You don't want to overcrowd everything. And honestly, the pork is just the base flavoring for everything else. So that's good amount. We're gonna put the rest away. What is this even? I don't even know. I think she puts the raw stuff here. So yeah, you got the pork, you got the stuff rehydrating, got other stuff chopped. Let's see how, so we're gonna go with strips, right? So strips. Aha, strips. Oh, I don't want to break this thing. I know, right? I know. Like she wants me to use up the whole thing so that we're not wasting, but we're not gonna add the whole thing. she doesn't have a compost heap. With this. I mean, Napa cabbage just cooks down a ton. That's what we're banking on, so. I'm generally not that big a fan of Napa cabbage in hot and sour soup, but you don't say no to a mother-in-law. Okay, that should be more than enough. We'll figure out what we want to do with that one as we dispose of the evidence. Finally, let's find a plate for the tofu. This tofu is specifically firm. So what you kind of want is firm silken tofu. That's the right texture for the soup. And so this one's cool is that you don't have to store it in refrigeration the entire time. So that's nice. And she's got kitchen shears, which is convenient. This will not be cut in strips. This will always be in chunks. I got that. And that. Oh no. It's okay. Oh my god. Oh my god. It's okay. It's okay. Tofu is definitely something that you can run dangerously into adding too much of. I mean, fortunately, it doesn't get in the way of too much of everything else, but almost every single time for this dish, it's just 1 pack of tofu for like 2 dishes, that sort of thing. These guys. Sure. I mean, are you really going to notice? To be honest, actually, I actually really do like the whole irregular jaggies. I do actually think it does kind of give a nice texture. All right. So these are pretty hydrated because it's been in hot water. I'm gonna just rinse it out. Same thing. We're gonna cut into strips. So yeah, for the wood ears, everything's about the same length, so that's cool. Let me change the angle of this thing a little bit. Let's see if that's any better. I'm gonna do lily flowers a little bit different. So you kind of see like it's a little bit of things, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, but then it all adds up as it goes. All right, so these guys have a stem that's pretty much inedible. So you can line these all up so that you can chop the stems off in one single go, or just since we don't have very many. These do have like a little bit of a flavor. This is just more of a texture thing than anything else, honestly. So one thing that I like to do to kind of make this a little bit more tender is to split it up. So what we're going to do is going to chop these in half, and then we're just going to tear them apart like that. So therefore, they won't be so. One thing, there'll be a little bit more of it. It'll be more evenly distributed, but then also it's just a little bit more tender when you chew into them. Honestly, the amount of time into this dish is really just about the prep. Everything else is pretty straightforward. It's really about understanding how each of the individual ingredients impact the overall flavor of the soup and how the soup's flavor can change over time. And we'll get into that in a bit. The eggs will beat later on when we free up some bowl space. So, all right. Let's turn up the heat on this guy. Let's make sure everything is at the right height and you can see stuff. See if I know how to turn this thing on. No idea. Let's do a single on high. I think that works. We'll just move some stuff over. Nothing for great. Do you like these? This might be a little too tough for you. Nope. Didn't like it. Alright. Da-da-da. Worry about that later. And bit this in, this in. Lots of oil. We can add some more oil. Oh my goodness. This thing will take a while to heat up. I did not anticipate that. Yeah, I might as well just summarize what I'm going to do. What I'm going to do, we're going to saute the pork to build a fond, nice fond in. And then we're going to add in the aromatics, which is the ginger and the peppers. One thing you can do to just see how much the pepper actually is just taste it. Okay, that's a really spicy pepper. Spicy is this one. This is actually going to make it pretty spicy, but it's overtaken by the tofu. Tofu is going to absorb a lot of that heat. Oh my god, this thing. This knife needs some work. Oh my god. All right, pretty heated up now. So, got the pan, which honestly, actually, it doesn't really. This does not vent outside. So. See, the cornstarch especially, the cornstarch and the sugar especially are building a crust. And that is pretty critical to the flavor of the soup. Just do it on high until you see this crust build on the pot. For the sake of experience. All right, we're just gonna add in the mushrooms. All right, maybe doing it on the small was not. Need the outer ring for this electric thing. Whew. Let's add in a little bit more oil here. This you can add now or later. So the whole entire thing about the Napa cabbage and the carrots is kind of like to add color, to add brightness. So it's not really something. It's really up to you in terms of whether you want to add it now or not. Let's add it now just for the sake of I don't want to have to worry about it later. Gonna add chicken broth to deglaze. We got all the nice pork bits. All the nice pork bits into the flavor of the veggies here. No need to salt. I mean, the pork has salt. The chicken stock has salt. So what we want to do is we want to cook, like now that we've deglazed it, we cook the rest of the liquid out, and then we add the rest of the chicken stack that we have here. think we're good. So we're about half and half chicken stock. And then we're going to fill the rest about another. So that was 4 cups of chicken broth. I'm gonna add in a bit more water here. And that'll be good. Got a cup. Bring that to a boil, which should take about maybe 5 minutes. With that, while we were waiting, we could have then sliced the tofu and everything else. But next thing we can do, prep the eggs. Let's find some. Learning all about the mom's kitchen. There we go. This is now our officially our garnish plate. And that is that. So this is already boiling. Turn to medium. Next step, with the cornstarch slurry. All right, so let's talk about cornstarch slurries. So yeah, you use cornstarch as a way to thicken up some stuff. Pretty confident this is cornstarch. Getting into the token stash. Okay, that's fine. Honestly, with hot and sour soup, you can't make it too thick. There's no such thing as too thick hot and sour soup. So what we're going to do is we're going to run some water and stir it in like that. Make sure it's all floating. Make sure everything is dissolved. What we're going to do is pour it in. Yeah. Actually, you know what? Let me go with the rest. So we're gonna make this super thick, mainly because it's the mother-in-law. She likes it thick. I'm gonna let it reach a little bit bubbly, and then we're going to drop the eggs in it. So the whole cornstarch slurry thing is absolutely critical for doing egg drop soup, doing hot and sour soup, etc. Mother-in-law left her phone here and someone's messaging her like crazy. But now everything's fine. Okay, you see, it's bubbling. So that means when we drop in the eggs, it will immediately bind, and that'll be good. So you notice how the egg immediately cooks. When it comes in, the cornstarch keeps the eggs separate. Is this too much egg? For me, there's no such thing as too much egg. So yeah, one thing you do want to let, what kind of like why I had the eggs sitting out for a while. If you keep your eggs in the fridge, you don't want the eggs to be too cold, or else it'll bring the overall temperature of the soup down, and then the whole entire process of adding this egg will take too long. All right. So we have the eggs. We're going to add back in the pork. And now we're going to add in the tofu. And we're going to leave it at that. We're going to use this for some other thing tomorrow. So you can see, like, this is just really thick, right? But key thing that we haven't added is the vinegar. And so this is actually a very tame vinegar. It just packed a lot of different flavor, and it's just not too sour. So adding a ton of it will totally add to the soup. And one thing right now is the time to taste the soup. Is it too salty? Is it too spicy? It's not that salty, but we're actually going to. This is the point. Where, let's turn this low. Turn this low now. Low on the small burner. All right. So now is the time for us to flavor it. All right. So like right now, since we just added the tofu, if it's super spicy when you're tasting it, that's okay. It'll become less spicy over in the next like half hour, literally. So that's why you're kind of like tasting it. You're kind of adding stuff. We're gonna add a little bit of soy sauce. Stir it in, and then give it a taste. All right. So now it's salty enough, but again, with the tofu will also absorb all that salt too. So it'll taste different in like 15 minutes. So right now we're just doing like a preliminary thing here. And so this is my mother-in-law's favorite brand of black vinegar. It's also mine. My dad keeps saying that there should be, in theory, there should be a better version of this because this is like, this is the cheap Taiwan brand that they use because they didn't have access to good ingredients back in the day. But it should be fine. We're gonna add a ton. We're like maybe a whole cup to start, and then we taste. We're gonna add a little bit more. And since we added all that black vinegar, then a little bit more soy sauce. I mean, this is what really like seasoning to taste is all about, right? Season it and then taste it. Yeah, that's pretty good. All right, what we're gonna do is we're gonna add some sesame oil. That's gonna give it some super aromatic. Actually, to be honest, I would just actually saute with sesame oil instead. Just kind of two birds with one stone. Get the flavor and the oil there. Again, keep tasting it. And so yeah, by the time the mother-in-law and wife gets back, I'll season. I'll just use these three things to season to taste again, and then do it. So let me serve what a bowl looks like. We'll just rinse these eggs out. And hey, she has ladles right here. Oh look, this has this fancy, look at that. So yeah, a scoop of all the bits, and then a scoop of just the broth. some cilantro, some green onion, and then, most important of all, of course, my mother-in-law would have some white pepper lying around on her spice rack. Let's cover this up. And there we go. Hot and sour soup. Yeah, that's the stuff. Spicy, sour. It's perfect for this cooling weather. And yeah, there you go. Thank you very much. We'll see you around.